Now, George, I can't believe it's Christmas in 5 days. We were just talking about it. Sounds like you have all your presents done. I hope most of you at home do too.
Actually, I'm just starting.
Not. Wait, really?
No,
oh, I'm just starting for my boyfriend, who I hope is not watching. I hope you're not watching.
He's not. No, I'm just kidding.
He probably is.
This is Channel 9 Eyewitness News this morning. Coverage you can count on.
Right now on Eyewitness News this morning, the countdown is on this morning for the rollout of another COVID-19 vaccine. Ahead, the facilities in our area that are expecting doses this week. And the overnight agreement that Americans need to hear if they're counting on another COVID-19 relief package.
Temperatures still slowly falling, but we're going to...
Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, December 20th. I'm Megan Cruz. Time is now 5:59 this morning, and we'll get to the top story in just a second. But first, here's a live look at downtown Orlando. Let me tell you something. Your eyes are not deceiving you. Here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Terry.
I'm awake. Barely.
So am I, surprisingly.
Coming up on 6 a.m. in the 5-day forecast for Christmas. Megan?
Thanks, Tom. All right, we expect UPS and FedEx trucks to roll out with the newly authorized Moderna shots this morning. A CDC committee signed off on allowing people 18 and over to get that vaccine. It's now up to the agency's director. And we're now able to check a state website to see how many people in our local counties have gotten vaccinated. Orange County ranks 4th in all of Florida when it comes to how many people have received the first dose at more than 3,200. Channel 9's Ashley Edlin has been following the story all
Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer believes the vaccines will lure tourists back to Central Florida, but he wants to be clear about one thing.
We need to encourage those that come to visit us to also practice good pandemic precautions.
So things like wearing masks and watching our distance, he feels certain tourism will really rebound by next summer. And this morning, we're remembering the life of a great supporter of the arts. We learned this weekend that Michael Manello died of a COVID-19 related illness. He established the Manello Museum of American Art in Orlando more than 20 years ago. Mayor Buddy Dyer said Michael's love of the arts made Orlando the cultural city we know and love today. And overnight, lawmakers in Washington settled their last major disagreement regarding a COVID-19 relief package. They must reach an agreement before midnight in order to avoid a partial government shutdown. As ABC's Faith Abube explains, lawmakers may need to pass another short-term spending bill to get this done.
Congress managing to avoid a government shutdown.
And there's new tech at the airport to help people social distance. OIA is testing a crowd radar. Get this, it uses sensors to track the number of passengers at East Southwest Airlines gate. The system uses different colors on display boards to show which areas are most crowded. Light green means few people are at that gate. Red means the section is full.
I think it's helpful. You don't have to, look over the crowd. No, you can just look down the corridor and you can see the polls, and I'll tell you exactly, whether or not there's a big crowd or not.
Sounds easy enough. Now, the airport plans to test the system out for about 7 more months to determine if it should be used throughout the entire airport. And you're out of luck if you want to catch one final rocket launch on our Space Coast this year. SpaceX launched its final rocket for the year this weekend.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Never gets old, right? We brought that liftoff live to you right here on Channel 9 yesterday. This was all to send a secret spy satellite into orbit for the National Reconnaissance Office. The rocket boosters then landed at Landing Zone 1 at the Space Center. Now, dozens of Orlando families who lost their homes in a fire now have new toys just in time for Christmas.
And our Christmas is continuing to go on, even though the fire happened.
We told you when a fire tore through the Jernigan apartments off of Mercy Drive earlier this month. Yesterday, volunteers from the city of Orlando, Orlando Police, and the Marines handed out toys as part of our Toys for Tots campaign. People we spoke with say they're grateful for this help.
Thank God we're still here, we're alive, and thankful you are for helping us.
Local charities, including the Salvation Army, Goodwill, and the Mustard Seed of Central Florida, are also helping replace items that might have been lost in the fire. You can still help out families like these by donating money. For more information, just visit 9family.com. Okay, time is now 6:09 this morning, and I walked outside. We were talking about this, Tom. I don't know why I expected it to be cold, but I had this big jacket for nothing.
Well, it's okay. You might still need it to your Sunday. Megan?
And we've all dealt with nearby construction noise, but one local man says that construction is getting too close. Yikes. Coming up, why he's unable to leave even as nails slam through his walls. And a NASA astronaut already made history when he launched from our Space Coast for this mission. Ahead, the history he's making now with the Space Force. And the signs doctors want parents to look out for as they treat more kids for mental health issues. We start tonight with these tense moments you see behind us here in Cocoa today when protesters surrounded a Brevard County Sheriff's vehicle. People were protesting the shooting death of 2 teenagers by Brevard County deputies on Friday. Good evening. I'm Megan Cruz.
And I'm Christian Brewy. The Sheriff's Office released dash camera video of the incident, but friends and family say it's not enough. Deanna Albritton spoke with some of those family members about how everything unfolded.
I was angry about it.
And we have team coverage tonight on what the next few months could look like for all of us. So we start with Alexa Lorenzo. She is showing us the steps being taken to make sure any potential vaccine will be safe for children. And while we wait for a vaccine, there are new treatments popping up to help people who become infected. Ashley Edlin is walking us through the groundbreaking research the American Lung Association is working on right now in Central Florida. But we want to start with a family dealing with a heartbreaking loss. An Orlando woman is one of the most recent victims of COVID-19. She told family and friends she tested positive at the end of October, and then 2 weeks later, she died in the hospital. Her family sharing her story tonight as a reminder that this pandemic is very far from over.
I miss her. I'm sorry, Sherry. I'm so sorry that you had to go through this.
Shelley Knowles' twin sister Sherry died of COVID-19 last week. The typically fun, vibrant 62-year-old sounding scared on the phone when she told Shelley she was admitted to the hospital at the end of October.
Because she has asthma, so she got pneumonia. But they thought, you know, that they were handling that and she was going to come home.
So Shelley was going to come live with her sister while she recovered.
Because I just retired, so I can. And I told her I would take care of everything, and I can't take care of everything.
Sherry took a turn for the worse and died in the hospital last week. Her friends gathered at her home Wednesday to support Shelley.
I'm so sorry.
And vice versa.
She was the constant in my life, in your life. I know what you mean.
Mary Beth Bauer had been friends with Sherry for close to 30 years.
I was crushed.
So many people will not get to know her now or learn from her.
You see, Sherry was a nurse who had a passion for teaching new nurses like Naomi Freilich.
Here's a good picture of Sherry with Naomi right here.
The two recently got tattoos together. Freilich said Sherry was there for her when her mom died.
Really stepped up as a motherly figure in my life. So I would want to thank her for that.
Sherry's death comes as cases here in Florida are starting to march up again. Every Central Florida county except for Sumter now trending upward since last month. Most significantly in Osceola when you adjust for population. It's important to note that more people are getting tested, but that does not account for the whole uptick in cases. As for current hospitalizations statewide, up nearly 60% since a month ago. Shelley.
I still don't want it to be real.
But knows it is and is sharing her sister's story so everyone understands it too.
To let them know it's real. This is killing people. This is not a joke. I don't know when it's going to be over or ever if, but it's not a joke.
You know, my heart just hurts for her and those friends, and I hope people who see that story remember that message that they wanted to share. And here's a look at the numbers in our state today. Florida added another 7,900 cases, pushing us past 900,000, the third most in the nation. State health officials say 187 prison inmates have now died from the virus. The U.S. officially passed 250,000 coronavirus-related deaths today.
$11 million in research grant awards in 2021.
Now, there are several COVID-19 vaccine trials underway right here in Orlando. One of them is the AstraZeneca vaccine. So far, we know 3 patients who were part of the first phases of this trial. They ended up with some pretty serious side effects. The first patient had an unknown underlying health condition. What happened with the second patient is still under investigation, and the third received the placebo shot.
And they had neurologic symptoms, and the conclusion was they had a condition called transverse myelitis or inflammation of the spinal cord.
which Dr. Goldenberg says can come from a virus, your immune system reacting in an adverse way, or from any vaccine. But he says it should not be a reason for people to avoid a trial. More than 1 million children have been infected with the coronavirus since the beginning of this pandemic. The cases are climbing in Florida and across the country.
While the clinical trials for the COVID-19 vaccine are promising, that vaccine will not be going to young children. Alexa Lorenzo joins us live. And Alexa, doctors say once there is enough data showing new COVID.
And you heard Alexa mention some of the vaccine hesitancy. A recent Gallup poll found 58% of Americans would take the coronavirus vaccine, but everyone else might need more convincing. This, as a new report from the Government Accountability Office says the FDA isn't being transparent enough when it comes to informing people about pending treatments and vaccines.
We said it was imperative that they be more transparent about the decisions that they're making, with the hopes that if a vaccine is approved through this emergency use authorization, the public will have further confidence with better information.
And the Department of Health and Human Services, which oversees the FDA, responded to the report saying it agrees there needs to be more transparency. They plan to now work out how to do that during this critical time.
Local pediatricians are also making sure families...
The Orlando International Airport did better than expected during the pandemic. It expected 27 million passengers this year, but ended up with 29 million. Still, those numbers are just half of what they saw last year before the pandemic crippled the nation's airports. OIA is one of the busiest airports in the nation right now, though, because of the warm weather, Phase 3 reopening, and theme parks welcoming tourists again. They expect the next 2 weeks will bring in about 40,000 passengers a day. Just wow.
Right now, the cool down we've been feeling over the last few days is about to end.
Yeah, we had some chilly mornings in Central Florida. I loved it, actually. But Eyewitness News certified meteorologist George Waldenberger is showing us the warm-up that's on the way.
Yeah, that's actually...
The events surrounding a traditional decades-old football game are being forced to go virtual this year. You guessed it, because of the pandemic.
That's right. The Florida Classic between Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman is canceled.
Up next, the first person with Down syndrome to finish an Ironman is coming back to Central Florida. We talked to him and his dad about the struggles he faced all throughout the race.
If you've been denied...
A Central Florida Ironman is getting a big welcome home tomorrow. We first introduced you to Cruz in May when he was training for the Ironman competition.
Yeah, earlier this month, he crossed the finish line in Panama City, making him the first man with Down syndrome to complete a full Ironman. Greg Warmoth got a chance to talk to Chris and his dad one-on-one today. But it didn't. He pushed through and achieved his goal there. Tomorrow, Special Olympics Florida is holding a welcome home celebration for Chris in Claremont. We'll have much more on Chris on this week's Central Florida Spotlight with Greg Warmoth Sunday afternoon at 12:30.
Just wow, his perseverance. I'm definitely going to catch that interview.
Wow, that's right.
Right, but until then, thanks for joining us and have a great night.
Good night.